Looks like we're live. G'day guys, how you doing today? It's Saturday morning here. It's 6 a.m. So just chill out while I wake myself up a little. We've got a few people in here or not. Just wait for the numbers to build a little bit before we get kicked off with it all. We've got a few of you in here now. Yeah, looks good. So this is a new setup that I'm using for lives. This is using some OBS software, so then I can actually share with you what my phone's doing, so I can do some edits and things like that, and you can see what I'm up to. I think this is probably a bit better than just me sitting here jibber-jabbing about whatever I want to. I can actually show you some stuff with the phone. There you go, that's what we'll go through shortly. And I can show you live what I'm doing with those edits. So I think this will be better for you guys, but we'll see. So I've got a little list of things to go through this morning with you guys. One is this setup, and same. Is that from Sweden? Two guys from Sweden? Anyway, we'll go through some of these things that I wanted to quickly cover off this morning before we go into an edit. The live stream seemed to take a long time, which is fine. But if we... Cool setup. Thanks, Greg. While I'm doing this sort of stuff, I need to wear my my goggles because I can't read stuff that's on the screen, what you're actually writing to me. So a few things here to explain to you guys. I'll just pull up a web page here. I've actually started a group here for you guys, and it's somewhere that I think, we'll see if that's working. Yeah, that's working. So this is a Facebook page that I've set up just for you guys to go onto and share your images and stuff. I get I guess the word for it is bombarded, and it's fine. It's very flattering. Don't get me wrong. I just literally don't have time to respond to everything that I get. This community is growing and growing and growing, and we've got some really active people in the community, some very, very, very talented people in this community who obviously got a lot of knowledge that they can share as well. So I've set up this group mainly so that we can help each other. So you can go ahead and put photos in there and ask questions, and you'll be surprised the amount of people that will go ahead and help you out in that group. So you might have some troubles that you're trying to photograph a particular thing, and you might put some questions in there, and people will just definitely help you out. I always try to answer everything that I do on the YouTube channel in the comments and stuff, but basically I just don't have time to go through most of the stuff that's a bit more techie. I get between 15 and 20 DMs a day on Instagram, and that's awesome. It's fantastic. I absolutely love that. But it's really hard to keep up with that and deliver some sort of help, I guess, on what you guys are after. Just read some comments here. I've been watching your videos 12 months. That's awesome. That's the sort of comment I love seeing, is that you're watching what I do, and you're implementing some of the techniques and stuff that I've suggested in some of the videos, and your photography is getting better. That's awesome. Love it. So I've set that. Where are we? No, you don't want that one. I've got this little deck going on here, so I don't have to keep on moving my mouse around. I'm still getting used to it. I've only done one video this way before. It was with a Facebook group in the UK, I think they are, and it worked pretty well there. And I'm just trying to streamline it a little bit. So just have to put up with some techie foo-bars that I might do in between now and then. So go ahead and join that Facebook group. It's I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to be all this and that with the rules and so forth, but by all means, join the group. If you're a dickhead, I'll kick you out. And Facebook just wouldn't let me leave that rule there. Just don't be an ass, and you'll be fine in there. So that's what I've got going on for you guys right now. A few people have asked about that. I will just say to you, don't expect me to be in there actively. I will go in there and see things that you're doing, but I just don't have time to answer everything. That's the reason that I've set this up. On the flip side of that is this. This is the Patreon page that I've set up. There's a few guys in there now, and basically what we're doing in there is any questions that they might have, they'll answer in there. Presets, when I launch them, I've given a few preset packs away to these guys that are part of that group. So what this group actually is you join this group, and I think it's like $7 Australian a month. It's virtually nothing, but it helps me keep doing what I'm doing here. All these things that I'm buying for this channel, it costs a lot of money. So over there, there's a Discord channel there, so you can go and add your own photos onto there. I've had people put photos on there, and they've asked about the questions. I've downloaded that photo, edited it myself, re-uploaded it, and explained what I've done there. And this sort of video that I'm doing here, I'm more than happy to edit your photos on these sort of live sessions, but I'll say that I'll probably only do them from the Patreon group, because like these guys are paying the dollars, if you like, and I've got to give them something back. They're being supportive of me, so I want to be supportive of them. I'll just break now and then to read what's going on here, because it's pretty active this morning. This morning, it's probably midnight or something where you are. Written answers. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Who was that? Devo. Oh, Devo. That's a good point, mate. I'll certainly change that. Cool. So that was what I really wanted to cover off first. I get a lot of questions about the presets that I sell. And I think it's more along the lines of not knowing how to actually use them. And once I correspond with people in email about to and fro about this is how you do it and this is not how you do it, I've had people just use it as a QR scan when you walk into a building, like to what do they call it? Location tracking or something to do with COVID. Well, that's what we have here in Australia anyway. So it just doesn't work that way. You've got to do it from inside Snapseed, and I'll give you a demo of that in a minute when we start doing some edits. What are my thoughts on the moment lenses? I know Greg McMillan right now is going, here we go again. Look, I don't think, my opinion at the moment is that I don't think that we can get, if you've got a phone that's like this with the multiple lenses on it, I don't think that there's a great deal that you can get out of that from a moment lens. I think that with your wide angle, your telephoto, there's not much that you can gain out of that. I do think that there is opportunity to do some improving different sort of photography with the macro lenses. And here's a scoop for you. I'm going to pick mine up in about, well, whenever we finish this. It's about 9:30 this morning. So in about 3 hours, I'll go and pick mine up and start shooting some videos with that. And depending on how quickly that goes, you might even see them in the next week or so. So I've got a couple of videos that I'm shooting with the macro stuff, because this bad boy, the Sony or the Samsung, it actually has a macro mode in there. I didn't even realize. I just stumbled across it and went, oh, I didn't know this did this. So I've already shot part of a video for the Samsung with the macro, and I'll use the moment on the iPhone, and we'll just see. I've got a few irons in the fires at the moment with different manufacturers to do with this channel, and we'll just see where that goes. If it's something worthwhile, and it's all well and good to take my word for it, but if I had them on hand, and I would do some testing for you and see if it's worthwhile doing. That's a great idea, Greg. So if you look in the comments there, Greg's 12 Pro Max. So get over there and have a look at that podcast if he's going to do some more in-depth reviewing of the, to see a video when you edited a bottle. The light pollution you're talking about. That's a fair point. That's an actual good point. I'm in exactly the opposite scenario to what you are. You've got to drive a distance to get into an area with no light pollution, and I need to drive a bit of distance to get to an area with light pollution. But I could probably do that. In fact, I'm shooting a couple of weddings up in Swan Hill, which is about an hour and a half away, in the next couple of weeks. So I might actually do that. I might take some photos up in those towns or just outside of those towns and see what I can get, because I know that they are pretty heavily light polluted. So we'll see what we can get from that. Hello from Italy. Hello from Australia. Let's have a look at these presets and we'll do some editing. Sweet. Give me a sec while I work out this bad boy. Sweet. So this is obviously my website for those who haven't been there. It's if you haven't been over here, there's reviews, the tutorials, and the presets that are here. I'll keep building presets, like the first and the second lot of presets. These the Lightroom and the first Snapseed presets. They were presets that I've just used them forever. It's a set of presets that, well, for the most part, I've just used them for a long time. And to use these Snapseed presets, it's something that I'll just open up a preset pack here and I'll explain what it is that we're doing. So here's the phone. I'm just reading, sorry guys if I'm just stopping in the middle of mid-sentence, I'm just reading comments. So I'll use this edit here. So with Snapseed, within Snapseed up the top there, you've got open and you've got this two squares, if you like, sitting on top of each other with a back arrow. If you hit next to the information button, if you hit that back arrow button and you go QR look down the bottom there and then scan QR look. Now I'm just going to scan that on the screen there and it's applying all of those presets to that photo. Now some of the presets, if you look at that one, some of them, you can't actually see what I'm showing you there. Let me just do this. If you look at that one off to the left there, there's not a lot of information on there. If you look at that one, there's more information. So the way that you would need to do that one is that you might need to come back here and slowly scan in, and then it will find that preset and bring it in. So a lot of folks that have messaged me, that's primarily been what it's about. Number 2 doesn't work, or number 1 in this pack doesn't work, but the rest of them do. It's because there's so much information on there. There's a lot of edits that I've done in that preset to get it to the point that it is now. So it just takes a little bit more scanning, like slowly zooming in on it, and it will always work. I've never had one not work. So we'll go back to this edit here. That's before and after that preset, so I don't need to look at that preset anymore. I'll go through this edit while we're looking at this photo right now. So if you touch and hold on this like that there, that will show you the before and after of what you've just done. And as you build more and more and more edits into this photo, after you're out of the tool, so I'll go into a tool right now by going to tools down the bottom, top left hand corner is tune image, and we scroll up and down on this to get to individual tools. And as you scroll up, we'll go to say contrast, and then if I scroll to the right, you can see it's bringing more contrast into the photo. That's how that tool works, and they all work the same way. So with Astro photos, I will generally bring a bit more contrast into the photo and a little bit of ambience. You need to be careful with this sort of photo, because when you look at this photo, incidentally, and this is going to just screw with some people's heads, I'm pretty sure. Catch you later, Greg. Is that if you look at the horizon versus the sky, it's a very high contrasted photo. But what's going to screw with your head is that I'm editing this on an iPhone, and this is a S21 Ultra photo. So when we use back to this editing, if we use the ambience and there's also shadows in there, what we need to be careful with this sort of photo, there's no light painting in this sort of photo. This is just a high contrast sky versus silhouetted ground. And I wanted that silhouetted ground mainly because of the windmill. Incidentally, this photo here is taken from a video that you guys will see Monday, or depending on where you are, Monday or Tuesday. And this is the one with the panorama photo with the Milky Way going over the top of that windmill. So this is one of those images from that video. So when there's a high contrasting sky and let me just turn this light off. I don't know if that's going to make any difference to you guys. Let me know if you're not happy with how that lighting looks. Let me know. It was just pretty bright in my face there. But for this image here, because the ground is so high contrast, it's just black, the more I increase the shadows in this, the more noise is going to come up in that foreground, and that just looks shit. We don't want that. So with a high contrasting image, I will generally leave the shadows right where they are, or bring them back down even further, and it will make that foreground, the silhouetted foreground, even more black, if you like. But be mindful of doing this, that when you decrease those shadows, just watch the sky. And watching the sky is something that I do in all of my edits. If the galactic core was in this photo, and it'll be in the next one, I'd be watching that galactic core the whole time that I'm making every adjustment, because that's what matters in these sorts of photos. So we'll leave those shadows right there and hit the tick down the bottom, and that will apply. So far we've used that preset from the QR preset, and we've just made some adjustments to the contrast and to the shadows. Now if I touch and hold again, you can see that's the before of everything. That's the original photo, and there we go. That's the after. So we'll go back into tools, and we're going to change the white balance. The white balance is something that I change on every single one of these photos. That's why I shoot RAW generally. If I'm doing a video that is specific to iPhone 12 Pros, I will generally shoot RAW. But if I'm shooting something that's just iPhone, leave it be, I won't shoot RAW, just so that people without the 12 Pro series can see I'm going to get something similar to what he's showing me here on this video. So in the temperature, here in Australia, we shoot this sort of a photo. It's generally winter. So it's my feel. I try and bring the feeling of what I'm feeling when I take this photo back into the edit. And I can tell you now that when we took these photos, it was pretty bloody cold. So I try and replicate that. So I'll generally bring the temperature down a little bit. If I bring it all the way up, it just looks like a summer night. So it just looks bloody silly. It looks almost apocalyptic. So I'll bring this down a little to roughly there, just so there's a bit of blue in the sky. So if I touch and hold this, whilst I'm in the tool and I touch and hold the screen like I was before, it will show you the before and after of just that tool, not the whole edit that you've done, just that tool. So I'll bring that temperature down a little bit. I'll scroll up to get to the tint. Now in every single astrophotography photo, I will bring in a little bit of magenta tint to that. And I think that helps bring a little bit of color, but not so much warmth to the night sky. Hit the tick on that one. We'll go back into tools. Well, before we go into the next tool, when I look at this sort of photo here, I see two things. I see that there's those Magellanic clouds. They're in the sky there. That's this here and that there. And you can see them with the naked eye out there at night. So I want those in the photo. The next thing I notice is that windmill, and I want that to be part of this photo. And the next thing I notice, and it should be obvious to everyone looking at this, is it's not bloody straight. I've taken this on an angle. And when it's dark, well, so be it. There's not much I can do about that. So I want to straighten that out first. So I go into tools, and rotate is the second row on the left-hand side there. Hit the rotate button, and I'm going to turn that around, line up those grids with the ground. So that looks pretty well flat just there. So I'll hit the tick there, and now the ground is nice and flat, and I like that. What I don't like about this now is that the windmill, the composition of this photo is not good now. Ideally, you'd have that windmill on the third, on the rule of thirds. And I look at this like, how can I achieve that? I could look at, say, cropping it down. And if I crop this right down to here, well, now it's on a third. And, well, that's great. But I've already now reduced the size of that photo that was taken from the size of a sensor that was really tiny. And it's not going to print that well. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to just go up to the top there, that back button. So where it says open, then across it's got the 2 squares with the back button, hit on that and just go undo, and it will undo the last edit that I've just done. But I still want to be able to bring that windmill onto one of the thirds. And this is a really cool tool, and if you haven't seen this, you're probably going to use this. So on the second row, right in the middle, it's got expand. So I'm going to expand, and all of a sudden I've got this border around the photo. Now, if I just take the top line, and you can see there that line is a bit more solid, I can slide that up, and it's going to use AI and increase the boundary, make the photo larger on that side. And this works really well for this sort of photo. And you can see where I'm going with this. So if I grab the left-hand side one and push it out, and you can see as I'm doing that line of the third, if I bring that line of the third across to where that windmill is and let that go, how's that? That's bloody spectacular. And I'll hit OK to that, and it's made the photo bigger. It's made the photo bigger just through AI. Some photos this works really well. For this sort of photo, it generally works pretty well. You will see though that up along the line here, you can see where the AI has kind of muffed it a little bit. But if you didn't know that this had happened, you wouldn't notice that. So let me have a read of some of these comments, guys. That's pretty much the edit of that one. I'm not going to do anything else with that one. I'll open another one in a second. You envy my lack of light pollution. You envy my lack of light pollution, but here we would envy you on many other things. It's all well and good to have no light pollution. It's another thing entirely to go, well, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? We have one option. If you didn't want to cook at home, you've got one option, and that's the local tavern. That's it. There's nothing else. Where do you want to go to get your car serviced? I've got to drive, for the most part, I've got to drive 60 k's away to get my car serviced. And if I want to buy one of these things, it's online, or I'm driving an hour and a half to buy one. So the lack of light pollution is a great thing, but it kind of hurts everything else. A little bit late to the live stream. Have you tried the S21 firmware released in the last couple of days? No, not yet. It's on the list to do today. I missed a heap of questions apparently. Enjoy the channel. Order the 360 camera for motorcycling. What do you ride? Seems to have some astrophotography capability as well. Yeah, I had thought about this. Who's that? Robbie RB. I've thought about getting a 360 camera. It's something that one of the videos I've shot half of it is some light painting stuff with my bike, and I actually thought, should I go get a 360 camera, because you can do so much more with it for that sort of a video. And I was wondering how it would go for doing astrophotography. I'm not sure if it's if you can do full manual on that yet. I've asked a few questions and no one seems to be able to answer me. So I'd be interested to see if that does that. I've used an app called Recrop. Never compared which works better. Yeah, okay. Recrop. I'll have a look at that. Nicola. Recommend you get the Galaxy A52. A52. That's a cheapo camera, is it? It is. $300 redos. Proper Pro mode. The Pro mode's great, and I'll certainly have a look at that camera. I haven't looked at that, to be honest. I'll have a look at that. I've shot videos with the S8, I think it was, and I think most of the Galaxies have a Pro mode. I've got a really old one there. I think it's A5 and it doesn't, or S5. I don't recall now, but it's a few years old. And it doesn't have a pro mode. I actually pulled it out of the drawer and charged it up, and I thought, oh, we'll go and shoot a video with a really old phone and see what we can do. But it doesn't do it. But I have shot video with the Galaxy S8, and it's an older camera, and it did a bloody good job just because it's got pro mode. What I would say though is that not necessarily all cameras with a pro mode is going to do a very good job. Like the GoPro Hero 8, 8 it would have been. That does it, and it's one of the more successful videos that I've had. But when I look at the quality of the photo of that, it's terrible. There's a lot of hot pixels and stuff in that. And the hot pixels, interestingly, is something that I've started noticing with the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Whether that's because I shoot so much nighttime stuff and it's really hurting the camera, but I'm certainly getting a few hot pixels on that now. This is an older photo though. Could be some in the foreground there, but I've certainly seen it on some of the other photos that I've taken on the S21 Ultra. Let's go to another photo. Look at that, you can all see my phone. Good thing I didn't have anything bad on there. We'll open up another photo. Well, there you go. There's my bike. Whoever I was talking to about that before. That's my bike sitting in my container. So I'll go up to albums, go to RAW, and I'll go and find I was going to do this one here, I think. Yeah. So this photo here is from the iPhone. It's the Apple Pro RAW on, I don't know what that is, Eugene. And you would have seen when I opened that photo, it didn't look like this. It didn't look like this at all. So what I might do, I'm going to go into the gallery and go down to RAW and go up to this photo, and you can see there how this photo looks. Why are you looking like that? Not sure if you guys can see that or not. Just going to quickly edit this and hopefully it'll come back to normal for you. There we go. It just did some really funky stuff there with my software linking this to the computer. But you see that it didn't look quite like it did just there. I think that's just the way that Apple or the iPhone interprets some of this. Now you might have seen the last video I've done editing this one, and you'll see that I've taken the noise out of the photo in the gallery app. I'm going to try that auto button first. Yeah, it does okay. It's not anything flash. And I'm going to go down to the noise reduction, because what I want to do is get rid of some of that artifacts. And that'll do right there. I'll hit the done. I'm going to go now back into Snapseed, cancel that one. So it doesn't look at all like what I just showed you there. So I'll open up another photo, open from device. You get to see all this other crap that's on my phone. And there it is there. So it looks, when you do that slight edit on that photo in the gallery, it looks, now it looks just like it did when I finished doing that edit, if that makes sense. We won't use a preset on this. We'll just do it straight from scratch. So the people who watch the channel regularly, you might recognize this photo. This was a photo from a video that I shot just doing a comparison between the 21 and the 12 Ultra. You know what I mean. So we'll go, well, look, you can, obviously with Snapseed, you've got these looks and it can do certain funky things. That's the accentuate look. And to be honest, I use that a fair bit. I don't generally use them for Astro, but I'll sod it, we'll do it for this one. Go into tools, up to tune image. I'm looking at, every time I do this sort of photo now, I'm looking just at the galactic core. I'm looking just in this area here to make sure that changing in the core, so it's bringing a little bit more detail into the core there. The ambience, you can do anything with that? No. No, I'll leave it there. This one's a bit of a tricky one because it's got the highlights in that tree in the foreground. So I'll see if we can decrease that a little bit without changing too much in the sky. And I don't mind that at all. Tools again, go to white balance. And as I said before, I want to make this a bit cooler and I want to bring a little bit of temperature. And you can see there, it's also crooked because I don't know, maybe I'd had a few beers when I took this photo. Well, I don't know. We'll straighten him out as well. And that's fairly straight right there. Now, there's a couple of things that we can do with this that I didn't do in the last one because there was no galactic core there to play with. But I'll go in there and find the brush tool. Now, the brush tool is like the old dodging and burning with the film days. So what I'm looking here is to I'm going to go into the dodge and burn tool, and I'm going to decrease, so dodging and burning, so I'm burning here at -5. And I want to zoom into that core, and I'm just going to paint. If I hit the eye icon down the bottom there, you'll see where I'm painting. I'm just going to do it pretty rough and ready whilst we're doing this live, so you can get the general idea. That'll do. That's way too much. So we'll undo that. And the reason that was too much is I'm sitting here with my hand on that, pushing it pretty hard like that. So it's the more you go over this with your finger, the more it's going to apply that. So I'll do that again. Get up there. And it's going to touch on that. That's better. So it's not nearly as much as what I did the first time, but you can see there's a bit more contrast in that core. Do I want to do anything else with this? Probably not. What I will show you though is that expand tool. Now, when I look at this photo and I think, well, we could get this even bigger. You know what would work on this is a vignette. A vignette would work well on this, but I'll show you this first. That expand tool that I was talking about before and that I used before, it probably won't work on this. And I haven't tested this, so I might look like a goose by telling you it's not going to work, and it may well work. But the reason I don't think it will work is this corner over here where that branch is sticking out to the edge of the photo. Now I think that the AI will struggle with this. So I'll go into that expand tool and we'll go this way and see what happens. Yeah, it did struggle. It's going to increase it the whole way around and I'll show you what can happen. You can see down the bottom, I'll actually apply that so we can zoom in and see. It didn't know what to do with this area because it just interprets what's there and tries to replicate what's there. If I scoot over to the right hand side here, you can see it really struggled with that. But I will go back and undo that and go back to the expand tool. And you might find that I can go vertically and it'll be fine. And you can, and it is. So I'll hit the tick on that. Yeah, it didn't do too bad. If I go back and undo that, yeah, I think that's a pretty good solution. I might just redo that just for the sake of this conversation. I'll hit the tick on that. Now, when I look at this photo, I can see there that the center is a little brighter and the outside, no, just isn't. So it's already got like a naturally occurring vignette there. But if I look down the bottom right, left-hand corner there's a little bit of light coming in from something on the horizon. So I'm inclined to put a vignette on this as well. So open tools, then down the bottom on the right-hand side there, you've got vignette. And the way this works is with a pinch motion is you can expand or decrease the size of the circle. I'm going to go to there and I'm going to reduce that oh so slightly. All I'm doing here is looking at that bottom left-hand corner. And that will do there. If I scroll up now, you've got the inner brightness and we can increase the inner brightness. So that's the complete edit on that. If I touch and hold that, that's the original photo. And that's the edited photo. I don't mind that at all. And then you would obviously export that and save a copy of that. You don't need to see that anymore. What have we got going on here? Am I going to be testing the iPhone 13 when it's released? Absolutely. Absolutely. there's enough YouTubers around at the moment doing all these the iPhone 13 rumors and stuff like that, and some of them are just, if they're true, it's going to be a bloody good phone. I was looking at some just this morning, and some of those, I'll just pull this piece of paper out because I actually wrote some notes, and I thought I'll just talk to you guys about this morning. They're talking about having an optical folding zoom, so an optical zoom but a folding zoom, like a periscope zoom, just like what the Huawei and the S21 Ultra does. That's too bright. Don't like that photo. Don't like that light there. You just have to put up with me being a little bit darker. Well, next time, hopefully, I'll sort something else out there. I've got this light here and these lights here, and that's it for now. But it's the rumor has it that it's going to have that 10 times periscope zoom. So we'll see. What I found though, the zoom on this is just sensational. It's just fantastic. But I use it next to never. I use the zoom. It's more for party tricks and stuff. Look what I can do. I can take a photo of this moon better than what you can with your iPhone, and that I thought was just fantastic when I first got it. And I find that I use it less and less and less. Like not the way you think it does. When you use this camera with the 108 megapixels, it has to be absolutely perfect environment and perfect situation for the photo for it to let you to shoot 108 megapixels. The lighting has to be perfect for you to do it before it even gives you the option. You can't even do it in manual mode. You can't go into pro mode and say, I want to shoot 108 megapixels. It doesn't work. You've got to use automatic mode, and when the lighting's perfect, a little icon will come up saying 4:3 ratio of 108 megapixels, and then it'll let you do it. And I just don't get why you would do it that way. It's almost more marketing than anything else. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing this phone. It's the way it does astrophotography, which is phenomenal. It's bloody ridiculous. Which leads me back to your question about the 13. The other rumor that is all but confirmed by Apple is the astrophotography mode on the iPhone 13. So it's, where did my notes go? It's right here in front of me. Sorry, just reading. Thanks, Joe. Good comment. Your videos are awesome as always. You help me take pictures with my 12 Pro Max. Take the picture with Flickr 2. Flickr 2 whenever I can't take a picture. You help me with the picture Flickr. I'm not sure what that is. Funky Mojo 75. Flickr Mojo. Yeah, I've heard that rumor as well, Nicola, about the 200 megapixel. But like I say, we've got 108 megapixel here, and for 90% of what I do, I couldn't use it. 90% of what most people use it for, you couldn't use it. It's just, if you're indoors, it doesn't work. I'll test it right now. I'm just going to go into the camera. I'm in auto mode right now. Nope, can't do it. Nope, no can do. So I'm just shooting at the 12 megapixel, whatever it is, I can't remember. The single take banana, can't do it. The lighting in here is really good. I'm even looking up my big light there, and it still won't let me. If I go, no. But today I'll go outside when the sun's up, and I'll be able to do it. It's a cool feature to have, I suppose, where if you lived in the city and the lighting was really good, you could take a big photo of the cityscape and then crop it down and get like multiple photos out of the one image. But other than that, I don't see a great use for it. So at 200 megapixel, I think we're going to be in the same boat. Have you seen the video? I have, on that MI11. It's not here yet. I was all set to have the Huawei P50 Pro, and then they've put that release date back. So I think it's like May or something is when they're going to let it. That's nothing official yet, I don't think. But that's what the general consensus seems to be, is that it'll be around May sometime when that Huawei P50 is out. And the reason I'm so keen on that is that it looks like it's going to have a 1-inch sensor, and that for a phone is bloody huge. It's almost forgivable that it hasn't got Google services on it. I would almost buy it just for the phone, well, just for the camera. It's for a 1-inch sensor in manual mode on a camera, something that you can put in your pocket. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So yeah, we'll just wait and see what goes on with that one. But the that MI11, that's not here. Yeah, it's one of those things I just don't know yet. If I had to choose between that one and the Huawei at the moment, if the Huawei does have a 1-inch sensor, I'm probably going to go that way. We shall see. What I meant when I said picture flickers, whenever I take a picture would flicker and become a brighter. I remember now. Yeah, I remember speaking to you about that now. Do I print any of your photo? Yes. You can. Fair income, Scott. I cannot do that. Is the stabilization on the iPhone 12 Pro Max the same for 180p? I don't know. I don't think so. I think I've got a feeling that the 1080p versus the 4Kp with the stabilization, 4K in the stabilization, I believe it 4K stabilization crops it down a bit. I believe that's the case. I don't shoot much video with my phones. I shoot more video with what I'm looking at there. Stay tuned for that. I'll take that on advisement. On advisement? No, that's not the word. So Scott, you're taking 108. Maybe this is a Snapdragon Exynos thing, because it's definitely not there for me all the time. It's there for me rarely. It pops up with 108 megapixels. So Scott's saying there that he can select 108 megapixel on his S21 whenever he wants to, and it's definitely not the case for me. This is what we're talking about here is one of the things that I really, 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 really hate about going away from iPhones, is that you've bought a phone, it's exactly the same phone as what I've bought, we've paid the same money, and you've got a different phone, and that just shits me. It really annoys me. If I paid the same as what you're paying, I should get the same damn thing. And it's evident to me that once I can't get Gcam to work on this, but people with the Snapdragon can, just make the same bloody phone. Doesn't make sense to me. I've been using Android phones for the last 10 years. Love the Huawei phones without the Google. But without Google, it's been more difficult. I got you. iPhone 12 Pro Max. Yeah, cool. I think what you're saying there, Funky Mojo 75, that's a funky name. No pun intended. And I've said this a few times, is that I don't think anyone loses in what's happening in the last 5 years with phones. Except if you live in Australia and you only get the Exynos version. But the way that technology is evolving so quickly, and manufacturers seem to be... I'll tell you what, I used to work, many years ago, I used to work in the print industry for Xerox. I was an operational manager at Xerox and for different print companies. And I used to say to salesmen there that nobody wants a Xerox machine. Nobody wants a Konica Minolta machine. What they want is, they've got this piece of paper and they want another one of those that looks exactly the same. They don't care what came out. They don't care what the machine is that did it for them. That's the end result that they want. And years ago, it was pretty cool just to make a phone call without being attached to a piece of wire in your house. And now we've gone so far beyond that. We've gone so far beyond, like, these are phones. They're just meant to make a bloody phone call. But we've gone so far past that we as the consumer benefit from this greatly. Samsung comes out and they said, we're going to do 108 megapixel, or 200 apparently. And iPhone sits here and goes, yeah, it's great, I'm doing 12 and I'm cool, I can just work. But they're both making sensational cameras. And we've got Huawei coming out with a 1-inch sensor. We've got Pixel coming out this year with what is arguably going to be a very, very good Astro photography camera, because they're finally upgrading the firmware, the hardware in this device. You've got this like MI11 coming out. These are fantastic cameras that are in these phones. You're almost at the point where, would I even bother buying a camera these days, or just go and buy another phone? Because you can punch out some really cool stuff with these things. And it goes back to what somebody asked me just a minute ago about, do I print? And stay tuned, because some of my stuff is being printed right now. Then once it's here, then I'll finish that video. So I've printed stuff from this and from this and from the Pixel, and you'll see what they are. And I've printed different sizes, and I've got to tell you, when I put these things on my screen side by side, you wouldn't know that they're not from a proper camera. It's a good time to be in this realm of phone photography. We just get some great stuff to play with now. I'll just read through these things here, guys, before I get out of here. Yeah, thanks, Joe. Just different lighting. That 108 megapixels. So he's checked his Ultra Snapdragon version as well, and the 108 megapixel is there in different. Oh, so it's there all the time. Is that what you're saying? Because it's not there for me. In Singapore, Samsung phones come with excellent. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that just, to me, that just doesn't make sense. That in different parts of the world you get a different processor. If there's a reason for it, someone tell me, because I can't work out why they've done that. And I believe that's the case all the time. Whereas if you buy that in the States and I buy that here, it's exactly the same thing. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing too. Andreas, is that right? Sorry, dude. Do that. Sorry. I'm do it right now while I'm sitting here with you guys. I've just done it, mind you. But it's no, there's definitely not 108 megapixel there. No. I'm pointing up there at that light. No, but I'll go outside today, and it'll be there. It's you definitely can't do it. Sorry, talking too much now. You definitely can't do it in pro mode. It just doesn't happen. Anyway, how often? I'm curious now that you guys are saying that you do have that option there. How often do you actually use it? So I've got a feeling it won't be that often. Samsung benefit more from Exynos because they Well, why don't they just do it for everybody? So when I go into that 4/3, and I can see, well, 3/4, and it's just grayed out. It's not there at the moment. But I do know that when I go outside later, it'll be there and I can use it. Compare Pixel with the other phones. I have done that. I've done that a few times. Now that the Milky Way is rising, now that galactic core is rising at this time of year, you'll see some more of those, this versus that sort of video, because most of the videos that I've done with like iPhone versus Samsung versus Pixel, that sort of thing, most of that has been just with starry skies, not so much with most of that is being just with starry skies, no galactic core, and it does make a difference how much of that core is brought out. And you would have seen with some of the iPhone stuff that I've done with the stacking and so forth, that it's just mental how good that can go. And the same with the Samsung. I've got to be honest that with these two, with that, was it last video? The way that I've been shooting the iPhone in the last probably month or so, because I shoot most of my videos at least a few weeks out. So the video that you'll see Monday or Tuesday, was shot probably 6 weeks ago. That's a bit more of a complicated video though. But the stuff that I shoot today, you probably won't see it for a couple of weeks. But where was I going with that? But what I found in the video that you would have seen last week with the iPhone and changing some settings on the iPhone, my honest opinion is that this the iPhone, using those settings that I said in that other video, my honest opinion is it's better than the Pixel. The Pixel does that stacking thing, and if you've watched this video at all, this channel at all, you know that stacking, it's all important for the Pixel, that it gets rid of the noise that way, but it also gets rid of stars, the smaller stars, the less bright stars. And I think that the iPhone's better than the Pixel when you do it that way that I explained in that video, and that is turning off the scene detection and turning off scene detection, scene optimization. You know what I'm talking about, and the HDR, and using Pro Raw. I think it's better. That's my honest opinion. I use it fairly often when it's okay. Yeah, cool. Have you printed them, Scott? Curious. I still have the Pixel 3 XL, takes really good pictures. The Pixel 5 still uses this. Yeah, absolutely. The Pixels haven't changed their camera, I think, since the 3, possibly even the 2. But the 6 is all rumored to be a different camera, a newer camera, new hardware. So I would expect that to be better. Google is just sensational with their software on the computational photography on their phones. They're ridiculously good at it. So if they had the hardware to back that up, it'd be, like I say, it's a good time to be doing this. I can cover the camera completely. That's crazy. Definitely can't do that with mine. I don't know what the bloody hell's going on. Is HDR active in Pro mode on the S21? If it is, clicked in the settings. Is HDR active mode? Sorry guys, I'm just trying to work out what that question is. Is HDR active in Pro mode? I don't think so. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. I'll have to go test that. But you're asking there if HDR is active in Pro mode. I'm inclined to say no, because HDR suggests that there's multiple photos of different exposures and put together, and Pro mode is literally one exposure on whatever settings you have there. So I would say that it's probably not active, but I will test that. I'll put that a note too. So you shoot 108 megapixel often enough, but you don't print them. Why do you do it? Why do you do all that and you don't print the photos? It seems to me like a waste, man. You're taking all these massive memory size files, but you don't print them. I'm amazing, apparently. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right, guys, if there's no other questions, I'm going to close off this live stream. I'm not sure how long we've been going for. My phone will tell me, it's about an hour. That's all right. That's pretty much what I was hoping to do. So you guys are happy to do that sort of editing thing occasionally? And if you are and you want me to edit your photos, head over to that Patreon and throw some photos there, and I'll edit them here for you on this sort of a video. Head over to that Facebook group and join up to that and throw your photos on there and your experiences and stuff. And that'll be it, guys. I'll catch you all